Hello everybody! So I needed to share my great news with you guys. We are now a Soother free home. Yay! It has been a dream of mine for a bit because my son's teeth were starting to stick out a little bit. But it just couldn't make it happen before. When he was almost 2, I decided that I was going to try to take his soother away. And that was just absolutely disastrous. It was so traumatic for him. For 1 week, like I knew a couple days would be hard, right? But for 1 week, he was crying all the time. He just couldn't understand what was going on. And so I ended up giving it back. I went and actually bought a new one because I didn't have any. And yeah, I think, you know, it's probably very confusing to them if they're under a certain age, because when they're babies, we're like, here, comfort yourself with it, soothe yourself with it, fall asleep to it. You have an owie here, here's a little bit of extra comfort. And then you take it away and they're like, what? So, but what was happening at the time was Zayden was chewing on it. He was teething on it. And so parts started coming out. So I ended up having to spend a ton of money because I always had to look at them and make sure that they were all attached, because otherwise it's quite a choking hazard. And so I always had to buy new ones for a while there. But, okay, so he turned 3, and so that was my plan. I was going to give him till 3. The other success stories I had heard where things had gone really smoothly, the child was 3. So that's what I did. And after he turned 3, I just, here and there, I would just state, that because he's 3, that the tooth fairy is going to write him a little letter and ask for his soothies, and that she would give him a present in return. I didn't want to do like a major countdown, like, okay, on this date they're going to go, because I didn't want to add more stress to him. I didn't want it to be like this looming thing, So I did that. I was going to also put a hole in the soother. I've heard of people chopping off the tip with scissors. I actually heard of one person who told their child that that the soothers, after a certain age, the soothers just disappear. And every day she'd snip off more and more and more, and then hello, there's nothing there. The soother disappeared. The kid threw it out. And that worked really well. But I've also heard about just popping like a little hole with a pin into the tip of the soother, so that when they suck on it, it collapses and it takes away any pleasure from it, right? So I've heard that has worked really good. One of my friends did that, and her daughter actually would suck on it and be like, ugh, what's this? And just dumped it in the garbage. So I was going to do that. But knowing Zayden, and I think this is a big thing, you need to know your child. I think that knowing Zayden, I think that would have caused him a lot of frustration, because he wouldn't have understood why all of a sudden his soother's broken. And then he would have just asked me for a new one. So what I did was, when I knew that this was getting close, I think I mentioned it 3 times in 2 weeks about the tooth fairy dropping off a letter. Then all of a sudden one day, this letter appeared at our house. And I don't think you're going to be able to see it. It's small print. But it's nice writing, like something a fairy would use, like a font a fairy would use. And I just said Dear Zayden, I am your tooth fairy. I am writing you because you are now 3 years old and have grown from a little baby to a strong little boy. When you were a baby, you needed a soothie to comfort yourself and to help you fall asleep. But now that you are a little boy, that is not so. Little boys do not need soothies like they once did, and all 3-year-old little boys need to say goodbye to their soothies. So I'm letting you know that tonight I would like it if you put your soothies in an envelope for me, because there are babies out there who need them more. You can leave it on the table. I will come and get it while you are sleeping. Don't be sad. I will leave you a present thanking you for your soothies. You'll receive it in the morning after you have slept all night. Plus, I will leave you another gift after your first nap without your soothies. So you'll receive 2 presents in return. I believe in you, and I know you will transition just fine. I am so proud of you for taking this step. Love, your tooth fairy. So we read that, and then we ended up going and getting all his soothies. We ended up getting an envelope, and he we wrote on it. There, I'm just going to block the rest of the name. So he wrote, "To my tooth fairy, here are my Soothies for the baby, Zayden," and he drew and scribbled on it. And then I got him to dump all of them into the envelope, and we sealed it, and then we placed it at his spot at the table. So at night, he did amazing. I was so scared. I thought for sure he'd be crying and it would be a really long night because the baby's in his room, but no, not at all. He ended up asking for it, and I just said, "Oh, remember the tooth fairy wants your Soothies for the babies?" So we put it on the table, but don't worry, you're going to get a present tomorrow. And he's like, "Okay." And he was fine. And then right when I tucked him in, he goes, "Soothie, Soothie," right? Because he always sleeps with it, always. And I just reminded him, "You're going to get a present." He was like, "Okay." And he went to sleep. Like, how crazy is that, right? I was so shocked. I'm still shocked. Then he woke up in the morning and he got his present. Yay. And I think you need to make sure the present is worth giving up the Soothies for, right? We ended up getting him, oh, I don't have it near me, but one of those, those like little binocular sets for kids, and you put that wheel of pictures in and you click it and it shows, characters. It shows characters and stuff. He loved it. So it needs to be something that's worth giving up your Soothie for, and that will entertain them for a bit. Then for his nap, he asked for it, and I just said, "Well, remember the tooth fairy took it away, and she left you a present, and she's going to leave you another present after your nap." And he was fine. He was absolutely just shocked that it was that easy. He routinely asks for it, like before bed or napping. He just looks at you with a smile and says, "Soothie," and you just say, "Oh, they're gone. The tooth fairy took them." And he's like, "Okay, not a problem at all." So I'm really excited. His teeth should move back to being perfectly normal. I've read that, and the dentist has said that if the child gives up sucking their thumb or their Soothies by the age of 5, which I think a lot do, well, the thumb, but most people don't have Soothies after 5 years of age. Anyways, that the teeth go right back. So there you go. I wanted to share with you our success story, and if it can help out anyone, I think that'd be fantastic. And Soothie free, because Venix has never taken one. I tried because I find Soothies quite useful and quite helpful. But yeah, nothing. No Soothies anymore. We just have blankets and stuffed animals as comfort objects, which I think is perfectly fantastic because you need something, right? But anyways, I hope that helps someone else. And if you have a success story, let me know so that I can tell other people that I know what has worked for other people. Okay, bye guys.